program, all right? This is a great introduction into software engineering, all right? This is a simulation that I have just built out from scratch. This is the Dash framework. The Dash framework is a data science library. Let me get that through your head. It is made for charts. Any of these, passages within this book, you're not going to find anything about game development. I can guarantee you that. You're going to find a lot of stuff that's going to be talking about different charts, pie charts, histograms, and callbacks and functions, and how to start to build out a plotly, project. But to take it to an actual, enterprise level, to build a business, to build automated workflows in that next level, well, you need to be really proficient. And it's becoming more and more accessible. And I'm going to kind of show you how I've been able to do it by rebuilding this game on the Dash framework. Okay, so right now I have this video game that I can kind of run into. There's a day-night system. There are spells. I have equipment. It's a low level, pretty shitty old school RuneScape. Okay, but with that, what I have here is I can practically use this as a simulation. I could set the world ablaze. You have NPCs over here. I can go over and I can try to fight one. The monkeys are really hard to mess with. But yeah, that was me casting a water spell, and it messes with the terrain. But you'll notice like things change a little bit. Like this is a voxel based video game, and this is different. This wasn't a thing for what was RuneScape whenever it first started. This is why I created this out. And I think that this is a new approach to just trying to understand and learn things. And the whole purpose of me building out this project wasn't necessarily to build out a video game, because I don't care to be a video game developer. But through it, you really learn a lot. And a part of that is, well, it's the organization, it's the compartmentalization, the voxel-based system's really interesting. This was the first one I ended up starting with, just to kind of give you how far it came. But this was the initial testing ground. Very, very similar to Old School RuneScape on that one. But what is the really cool part, all right, as you can see, I've kind of set the world ablaze, but I have, map editing. So over here, you can see that if I go into a new section, I can drop in, for example, new NPCs, or I could, bring in objects. So for example, like this fireplace. If I wanted to bring in this fireplace, I could drop it in and I could see what it would look like, And if I wanted to start building a house around it, I can just go over to walls and I could pick on whatever tile set, or I can jump in between different tile sets. Like let's go into a room builder and maybe I can find something that is a little nice, and we'll kind of build out this wall real quick. But yeah, now you can kind of start building out your room. And then ideally, you move into objects, and then you can kind of have prefabs and, Japanese houses. And it's amazing. I'm just amazed at what you can build and create, and the whole way that this is all possible, and the way that I'm doing this. Okay. And I guess we'll do it through, a magic demonstration, but I'm creating these isolated, limited working examples. So this is one just for the spell systems, right? So if I cast a water spell, how should it look, And what I do is I have really, really good documentation. The reason why this is really good documentation is because I built it. But no, it's also because if you go over here and if you go to llms.txt on anything that I build out, there is also a markdown for everything. So as I'm continuing to compartmentalize and build out certain aspects of the game, I do it in a way where I do it in a specific page. I make sure that, for example, let's go into another one. We'll go over to mining real quick. So this is the mining example. So I wanted to kind of introduce strip mining, and I wanted to do it with water. So if you do it at an elevation, it kind of changes the terrain, and this goes back into the voxel-based system. Same thing with trees. If you start chopping at a tree, you're going to see pieces fly away, and then there's still more left at the tree, you kind of pick at it, and this is kind of the way that I've been looking at just compartmentalizing and building out this project. But the cool thing is that in the whole network that I have been building out, this is only a small project. I have so many different projects on here. This is the actual documentation that I'm using that is the building blocks for everything that I've been building therefore. So this is the most precedent that I would recommend just looking at if you're trying to get into building something in Dash. This is the way I would do it. But other than that, I have really great documentation for all the individual components, and I have a lot of them. And I am a reputable distributor of Dash components. I have about 50,000 downloads on this one alone, and it ranges in each individual component, but they're all complex and they take a lot of time to build out. But the way that I'm doing this is all of these are individual applications, and they're individual applications for a reason, so that it compartmentalizes what I'm doing here. And as I go about trying to, section out individual areas, and I am building out, objects or sprites or tile sheets, all of these are, being shared in between different applications, so that whenever I want to create a game, I could just, and we'll go back over to the forge, but in here, I have all of the assets that I created from Pirate's Bargain, and it's all located, right here. All the tile sets are located right here. All the sprites and NPCs are right here. The objects are over here, so it's extendable, and I can do it to, what is the two plot media application, where I'm using the assets directly in the videography and some of the automation that I'm doing in that side of the application. But there is such an array, and as you can see here, the network's growing and eventually it's going to strike, and you just kind of keep throwing stuff at the wall and you'll see what sticks. But this right here is the introduction to, I guess, the start of what is not a video game, but an explanation of how I was able to take a simple, data science library and turn it into a video game. And it wasn't through brute force. It was through strategy, and it was through organization, and it's through the use of AI. Anything at this moment is possible. You can build practically anything that you can think of. And that's the real beauty in this moment. So take it and run with it. But yeah, with that, let me know what you think. Was this a pretty cool tutorial? Would you actually want to see more of the game built? Would you like to play it? But yeah, with that, I'll see you guys in the next one.